And this episode is brought to you by Dye Real Estate and Land Company. They are the real estate agents based in Northwest Ohio that are the go-to company for people who enjoy the rural lifestyle and are looking to buy and sell some property. The whole team is amazing. I've used them in the past. I'm partial to Jaylene myself for obvious reasons, but they're all there for you whenever you need them. If you're in the market, just drop them a line at info@dyerealestate.com. That's info@dyerealestate.com. And don't forget to tell them Support Your Local Podcast sent you.
Hello, I'm Robert T. Smith, host of Support Your Local Podcast. I want to take a moment to remind you to hit that fast forward button. That is, unless you want to hear about something good being done. Anyone who knows me knows that I love bowling. In 2016, I founded the Smith Family Bowling Scholarship Foundation, intended to honor my father's hard work and dedication to community service and award scholarships to youth bowlers throughout the nation. To date, we've awarded well over $15,000 in scholarships. If you are a bowler, know a bowler, have ever seen a bowler, or heard about anyone who has ever seen a video of a bowler, I'd love for you to help promote the SFBSF and its mission. Please go to sfbsf.com and see what we're all about. While you're there, please consider hitting that donate button and helping us make a brighter future for our youth. Again, that's sfbsf.com. Thank you for your time.
I now declare the quick draw competition open.
Howdy, everyone. Pull up a chair, kick up your boots, and take a sip on a nice cold brew. It's the Quick in the Pod, the Season 2 episodes of the Support Your Local Podcast show, where we take a look at the 1995 Western classic by Sam Raimi, The Quick and the Dead, one chapter at a time. I am your host, as always, Robert Smith, coming to you from beautiful Tombstone. Yes, that one. Today we are going to take a look at Chapter 11, More Bad Dreams. And we were supposed to have a guest host with us today, one Mr. Jay Wolber. Those that remember him from our previous episode, he is from the Cryptids of the Corn podcast, great friend of mine from back home in Ada, Ohio. Hopefully he jumps in. We've been having some... it seems like always, having some technical issues trying to get him back onto the podcast. Seems like every time we get something lined up, we fire up our machines and there's either a technical glitch or a freak storm or a dog man attack or just something always kind of holding us back from getting there. So hopefully Jay can hop in while we're rocking and rolling on this. Hopefully he's okay. I hope exercise the demons of the podcast with his brother Jeff in breaking the Wolber curse. So hopefully that will continue on with Jay and nothing too untoward will occur. But before we jump into Chapter 11, as always, I want to just take a moment and do a little bit of a deep dive into one of the actors in our movie, one of the movers and shakers, if you will. With this chapter, it's a little over like a minute long, so there's not a whole lot to sink into, so I thought this was a perfect time to take a look at one of the actors that you wouldn't necessarily think of in this movie. One is Stacy Lynn Ramsauer, who plays the young Ellen, and as we'll find out in this chapter, is playing essentially the little girl version of the Sharon Stone character. We just know her as the lady so far, but we will come to know her as Ellen. Stacy Lynn Ramsauer in our segment that I like to call Put My Damn Name Up on the Board.
Put my damn name up!
So today, for Put My Name on the Board, I said we're going to take a look at one Stacy Lynn Ramsauer, and just a bit part in this movie. She plays the little girl Ellen in the dream sequences that we have kind of strewn throughout the movie, especially the one that we're getting ready to dive into today. Not a whole lot in regards to an IMDb status for her. 1989 to 91. I found this a very, very fun fact. She was actually on 4 episodes of Hey Dude as Little Noelle. And people my age, you have to know what Hey Dude was. It was the show on Nickelodeon that was about a dude ranch camp, essentially, that was ran by Mr. Ernst and his son Buddy, and had a cast of characters of the counselors throughout the show, and hilarity would ensue. Not a lot of horror and gore that you would hope with some type of camp show. Obviously, this was Nickelodeon, but known for bringing us some stars out of the day. Specifically, Ben Stiller's wife, Christine Taylor. She played Melody, the lifeguard on that show. And I remember coming home from school every day and turning on Hey Dude. It is probably most famously known for its very, very earwormy title song, the intro song to it. Anybody that's ever heard it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I could easily still 30 some odd years later, I can still sing the entire song from heart. And it wasn't that impactful of a show. Like I said, it was only on for 2 seasons. It's not like something like Cheers or Married with Children or something like that. This is a 2-season show on Nickelodeon. But to this day, I can still, tell me about those man-eating jackrabbits and that killer cacti. Hey, dude. It's a little strange when you make your home out on the range. So get your horse and come along, because you can't get a ride if you can't go on. Yippin', yippee-ki-yay, yippee-ki-yay what? Like the cowboys say. Saying again now, yippee-ki-yay, yippee-ki-yay. Oh, man. Brings back some memories. But anyways, she played a little girl in Hey Dude for 4 episodes as Lil Noelle. And then the only other things I see is actually in 95. So we have The Quick and the Dead that we're seeing today, Tank Girl, Babysitter's Club, and then in 1996 there was a TV movie, Terminal. And that's all that there is about her. Hopefully she's okay. Hopefully that's, her career was not cut short Poltergeist style. But that has been just a quick look at one Stacey Lynn Ramsauer in the segment that we like to call Put My Damn Name on the Board.
Add my name to the list.
Attaboy!
And we're back. All right, we are going to hop into... Did you hear that? Is that coming through on the mic? Is that just in my headphones? Did anybody else hear that? Weird. Okay. All right. That was weird. We start our chapter with Sharon Stone walking through the door of her room, and she just kind of falls against it. She looks absolutely exhausted, and we have to think it must be from the shock of seeing the vultures kind of descending after the gunfight. And the camera starts swishing from one Dutch angle to another to give us this kind of sense of disorientation and a feeling of what the lady must be feeling with her head spinning from what she had just seen. And Ace Hanlon got shot and killed, and then he was almost literally picked apart by the scum of the town. And she starts having these visions of a marshal's badge. And there's this little girl who, I wonder who that could be, being grabbed from behind and screaming. And her mouth is covered up by the person and hauled away, which is in its own right a kind of a disturbing scenario given some of the things that we've already seen coming from this town. And she throws her rag doll, and there's a nice little touch of it going spinning around the frame in front of the sunlight, and it's kind of reminiscent of the gun being thrown in the sequences that Raimi did earlier. And we then see horses come galloping in, and the doll is trampled by those horses. But we see the girl has pulled out of the way, and we do see that the person that's grabbing her, the guy that came up behind her and grabbed her by covering her mouth and moved her out of the way of this stampede, is actually someone who looks an awful lot like our doctor. And it's a nice little touch of de-aging here. So this was obviously 95. This was not, the Benjamin Button version of de-aging. This is not what we saw in The Irishman and, the upcoming Indiana Jones stuff. It's not the CGI de-aging that we see. This is just essentially a makeup job of, instead of white hair, they put a little bit of color in his hair, and all of a sudden he looks a lot younger. Gary Sinise, who we earlier saw in a photo in the lady's bag, is pushed out the door by two men, and one that looks suspiciously like fellow director Mick Garris in a mustache and makeup. So, I wonder if that could be. Gene Hackman comes out, and he's telling them to string him up and to put him on a chair. So we see that is kind of, that's his kink. That's what he gets off on, apparently, is stringing people up and using a chair. So obviously, if I'm connecting the dots in what I may know and what I do know about what these characters are, obviously Sharon Stone had a right to kind of be uncomfortable when she saw essentially the same thing happening in our earlier episodes when they threw the Russell Crowe character into the bar and strung him up in a very, very similar manner. We see the noose swinging. Okay, anybody else hear that? Jay, are you on? No? Okay. Oh, hopefully he's able to hop on. We see the noose swinging and the sound of gunfire, and Sharon Stone is seen tossing and turning in her bed as the gunshots are replaced with the sound of someone knocking on her door. And she wakes up, draws her gun, and very, very dramatic scene of her in her nightshirt, just in boots, with the gun drawn to the door. But we find out that it's only Katie. It's Pat Ingle's daughter, the shopkeep. And apparently Sharon Stone has overslept, and it's time for her gunfight with Dog Kelly. Sorry. So the girl takes a moment to tell the lady that you're the best, and you can do it. And it's a moment straight out of a 60s Batman. I love the little touch of it. But Sharon Stone puts her arm on the girl's shoulder, and we get to see really the stark height difference between her and Katie. And I'm not sure how old she really is, the girl playing Katie, but she can't be portraying more than someone just becoming a teenager, because, I mean, Sharon Stone is kind of tall, and granted she's in cowboy boots, but she is literally head and shoulders above Katie. I mean, it is a very stark difference between a woman and a young girl. I mean, you can definitely see that difference there. But that ends our scene with the sound of the crowd becoming restless outside, and Sharon Stone getting ready. Like I said, this entire chapter was only a little over a minute, so not a whole lot to dive into. I'm sorry Jay wasn't able to join us for this. Hopefully we can break the Wilbur curse and we can catch up on him next time. But until we meet again, folks, when we come back for Chapter 12, and a special guest, Shizzy, confirmed. Apparently, whatever his planet needed him from, which may or may not involve the Federales, he is cleared and able to join us again. But until then, folks, as always, if you haven't already, check us out on our social media. We are Support Your Local Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feedback, anything like that, please feel free to email us at SUP, that's SUPP, yourlocalpodcast@gmail.com. Love to hear from you. Please take the time to rate and review us on wherever your podcatcher is. That's how you can help us the most. This podcast is absolutely free. It will always be absolutely free. But the way that you can help me is by going and rating and reviewing so that we get moved up in the rankings and therefore get into the ear holes of more and more people. That's how you help us out. But until then, folks, as always, I love you. Please remember to support your local podcast.
Hello, Robert.
Jay?